Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Piracy Show. And I know yesterday's episode was a little out of left field, and I promise that in today's episode, no more surprises. 100% guaranteed. But now 3.1 is hit, and we've run into, shall we say, a few interesting bugs. Not being able to equip a weapon is one, and there's another new bug that popped. Wait. What the hell? What the... What? What? It went up to the flight level. Okay, maybe like one surprise? Just one, hopefully. What the hell was that? Where did it go? Great, and I don't have a gun, right? Great time to have a bug where I can equip a weapon. Fantastic, by the way. Oh well, if I know most of my sci-fi movies and I consider myself to be something of an expert, letting those things escape and breed can't turn out in a bad way. Anyways, this is my new bug. I only have 3 ships. Yeah. Same thing if I go into Arena Commander. Only 3 ships. A Saber, a Cutlass, and a Herald. I don't know. So with today's episode, we're going to be dealing with a few user comments or viewer comments and questions instead, while we wait for this to be cleared up along with other things. Alright, first up, Robert Dobbs at Minion Soldier. So I wanted to see what you thought of the idea of the Herald being an infiltration ship, to the extent of having a cloaking ability and sharing that trait with other E-War types like the Sentinel. Now, cloaking is a hard sell in a game like this. I would say that from my observations of the community, there's going to be people out there who are like, yeah, of course a cloaking device would be awesome. And initially I would probably be someone in that camp, but like in truth, with the signature system and the scanning system that they're planning, there is technically a form of cloaking, keeping your emissions low and possibly being able to suppress certain emissions. I was about to say emotions. And using your skill to kind of keep yourself off of your enemy's sensors. So to a certain degree, there already is kind of a form of cloaking, but just having that one button, kind of like we have the stealth button now, having one button that just renders your ship invisible, that would be a really hard sell, I think, in this community for a lot of people. I mean, arguably the stealth button will probably end up doing something similar to that, but without a visual effect making your ship invisible. I mean, you'll probably in the future, once things get a little bit more sophisticated, you'll be able to dial certain settings to that stealth button. So you push that button, it takes your shields down to this, it takes your reactor down to that, and it just kind of makes your ship blend in, and at least electronically, with the background radiation, the background electromagnetic noise, that sort of stuff. So I don't think that a cloaking device, to a certain extent, is impossible, but I think also that in terms of gameplay, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to see a cloaking device by name in the game, because there's going to be a huge negative association with that. I mean, there are going to be people who are just going to look at that and they're just going to say, oh, that's a griefer and ganker tool. It doesn't belong in the game. And if you put it in the game, then you shall learn to fear my Reddit posting skills and my Spectrum posting skills, because I alone will, I will stop this. Even though realistically with stealth ships, like the Prowler, the saber, the ghost. It's kind of already here. Having a cloaking device by name would be a huge red flag for some people. I mean, realistically, using the cloaking device name, it doesn't really mean anything. We got the stealth button, we got stealth ships. We have yet to see a fully fleshed out stealth system, so we don't know how far it goes, but just saying that is going to trigger some people. Are going to be like, oh no, that's just griefer tools. Star Citizen needs hashtag Star Citizen safe spaces, whatever, you know, like you're going to get those people. You're going to get those voices. And so chances are you're probably going to get something that's fairly close to that, but it just isn't that by name only. You know, there's going to be, because cloaking device is going to trigger some people. Just having CIG say, hey, here's a cloaking device. Hashtag triggered. Like, they're just going to go off like immediately. So you're gonna get it, but you're probably not gonna get it in name. As far as doing it with the Herald, you know, kind of getting the right equipment, the right settings and everything all dialed in, and developing the right tactics to work along that to make it work, chances are you're probably going to get there. I personally am kind of headed in that direction. I'm going to be definitely investigating the possibility of that, but I don't know that it's a guarantee. Next up, we got Ironclad Legion with, had the bug, high stat with about 510 2-time circles, you know, of wanted status. Couldn't equip a weapon, same as you. Like, in a way, I'm kind of beginning to wonder if this isn't deliberate. Like, if this isn't a deliberate bug that we're getting here, like limiting the amount of ships, making it so people have to test out service beacons. Like, oh my god, I've got 3 ships, they're all on cooldown. How do I get back to Olisar or get to Levski or wherever to buy this or that? I can't do anything. And so they're just kind of creating an environment where people are going to be forced to use the service beacons, and at the same time maybe they can't carry weapons, so there's going to be less instances of, you know, people just running onto someone's ship and then murdering them, you know, that sort of thing. You know, trying to create an environment that's conducive to that form of testing. And, you know, just maybe that's why the trade prices are so effed up right now, so that really you can't really make any money trading. So people are out there doing missions, or, you know, maybe they're losing their ship, or maybe they're just stuck somewhere and they want to get from Olisar to Grim Hex, or, you know, vice versa. And so they're forced to use those service beacons. I mean, maybe they're just trying to create an environment that's conducive to that type of testing. Who knows? A week from now, they could say, oh, yeah, sorry guys, here, we found the loose wire. It's all fixed now. All right, everybody, go back to enjoying the regular game. Yeah. Who knows? We could get that. And finally, in reply to all the comments that seem to really enjoy yesterday's episode, you know, I want to kind of leave the right impression about that episode. I mean, that was just something that happened by accident, and when it was happening, I was like, oh man, you know what? This totally reminds me of Metal Gear. And as I was going through the situation and playing, a lot of this kind of came to mind, and I was like, oh man, you know, I should make this a Metal Gear episode. And it was a lot of fun, you know, pulling together the music and the sound effects and going, oh, wouldn't it be cool? I got to go find that clip of Chris Roberts and all that stuff and put it all together. I had a lot of fun, but you know, it's that type of gameplay that I really enjoy, the sneaking around, the infiltration, that sort of stuff, you know. I really enjoy that kind of thing. So it was fun to kind of experiment with it in a kind of unintentional way in Star Citizen. Now, is this something that's going to really bear out in the future? Maybe to a certain degree, but I think it's going to be more skill-based and less of, oh, here's a stealth suit sort of thing, and now you're invisible. You know, I hope that we do see this type of gameplay in the future. Obviously, infiltration, getting in and directly hacking a terminal, that sort of stuff. This is stuff that CIG's talked about before. And hopefully, you know, we do get the tools, or at least the ability to manipulate the systems within game to allow for this type of gameplay in the future. I mean, it's in a funny way, being unarmed, it teaches you, in a funny way, it teaches you important lessons about combat. I mean, just as we had the episode earlier in the year where, you know, I went into the drug lab and I ended up getting gunned down. And I was like, oh shit, you know, I should have brought heavy armor for this, and I should have not been using like a beam weapon or an energy weapon. I should have been using my assault rifle. You know, these are all important lessons I learned. But this also teaches some other lessons about knowing when you're vulnerable and how to protect yourself against those vulnerabilities, or how to adapt your tactics to kind of keep yourself alive even in a highly disadvantaged situation. And so it's important to always kind of look at these situations and say, you know, what can I take away from this? And that's, I think, one of the things that separates really good gamers from kind of pedestrian gamers is, like, let's say you go into a situation, you get owned, or you're at a serious disadvantage. Do you just sit there and whine about it, or do you use that as a lesson to inform your gameplay and develop yourself as a player? I mean, certainly back in the day, one of the things that caused me to take up Rogue in World of Warcraft as my main class was the fact that a rogue totally beat the pants off of me, and I was just like, oh shit, rogues are really cool. And I didn't go, oh man, that guy, you know, what a hacker, what a cheater, wah. You know, I went out and said, you know, okay, now I know what they used to do this. Now, how did they do this? And then you go out learning the lessons and learning how to layer cooldowns and, you know, what certain, you know, abilities to use at what times, and learning all that kind of made me a way better World of Warcraft player than I was before, you know, kind of taking those lessons to heart. And this, I see it as very much the same situation. Like, some people will sit there and, you know, like we were talking about stealth ships before and the possibility of a cloaking device. Some people will look at that and automatically go, oh my god, red flag, now it's griefers only, it's going to ruin the game. But other people go, hey, you know what, that's something that I can adapt, either to use it, or even if I'm not using it, I can experiment with it and maybe find a way that if a stealth ship is vulnerable, how do I expose it and then take advantage of its vulnerability, that sort of thing. So there's, you know, there's a lot to be learned even in difficult situations and failures. And I kind of like learning that stuff and kind of picking those things apart. But anyways, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that episode, and I hope you enjoyed this one too. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for watching. If you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42 development, please follow us on our social media channels.